Greek and Roman cultures have some of the world's oldest and most intriguing myths, and almost every Greek god has a Roman equivalent. In fact, both the mythologies are so similar to one another that many people get confused between them. So let's draw a line between them in this video, where we'll talk about some of the most significant differences between Roman and Greek mythology. Trust us, it isn't really that difficult to understand the differences between Romans and Greeks. Both of them belong to significant civilizations, and since they both existed at the same time and were located close to one another, both civilizations had a lot in common in terms of architecture and beliefs. There are 12 primary gods and goddesses in both cultures. They are referred to as the 12 Olympians in Greek mythology. Zeus, Poseidon, Ade, Ares, Apollo, Hermes, Hephaestus, Hera, Athena, Aphrodite, Artemis, and Dionysus are among them. Likewise, these 12 major deities are rebranded as Jupiter, Neptune, Pluton, Mars, February, Mercury, Volcano, Juno, Minerva, Venus, Diana, and Bacchus in Roman mythology. Although having different names, they are the same gods and goddesses with the same abilities. Yet, the gods of both cultures differ in various ways, even though the Roman religion is built on the Greek religion. The Romans did not simply accept Greek religion. Following their culture, they have also modified their faith. Like Greek myths and stories, also included animal characters. Romans didn't like seeing animals as characters in their myths and legends. Additionally, you will discover variances in the personalities of gods and goddesses if you study Roman and Greek gods. Because people create their own gods, most gods and goddesses resemble those who pray to them and believe in them. Let's cut it with these basic differences and dive deeper into their contrast. The time period marks the first significant difference between Greek and Roman gods. Roman mythology predates Greek mythology by more than 1,000 years. For instance, Homer's The Iliad was written 700 years before the rise of Roman civilization. The Iliad and the Odyssey are two important literary poems by Homer that feature the Greek gods. Many well-known Greek stories, including the Trojan War and Odyssey's journey back to Greece following the fall of Troy, were depicted in both of these poems. The Aeneid, a poem by Virgil, chronicled the story of the Trojan Aeneas from Troy to Italy. It explains how Aeneas came to be the ancestor of the Romans. Roman gods and goddesses are shown throughout the narrative. The physical characteristics of the gods are another significant distinction between Greek and Roman deities. Greek deities placed a lot of value on their outward appearance, including beauty and ugliness. The gods and goddesses in Greek mythology are said to have powerful traits. These traits would directly influence the physical look they were given. Roman deities weren't described in this manner. Roman gods' attributes were given less attention. Therefore, when they were represented physically, it was usually a weaker representation. Yet, another important distinction between Greek and Roman deities is the names of the gods and goddesses. Despite their names being different, the gods of the Greeks and the Romans were essentially the same. For instance, the god of the sea, the goddess of love, the god of battle, the god of wine, and the goddess of wisdom existed in both cultures. Importantly, both Greek and Roman cultures had a major god who is the king of all gods. The ruler of the god is referred to as Zeus in Greek mythology and Jupiter in Roman mythology. Greek and Roman mythology both contain references to a queen of the gods. The Roman god's queen is Juno, although the Greeks refer to the monarch as Hera. Roman gods are all referenced in the names of the planets in our solar system, including Mars, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and others. There is absolutely no mention of Greek deities. This is because Romans, who were skilled astronomers, gave the names of their gods to the 5 planets they could see. As a result, Jupiter, the greatest planet in terms of size, was given the title King of the Gods. Mars, on the other hand, was given that name in honor of the god of war because of its fiery hue. The names continue to be used. Greek gods and goddesses were revered in Greek mythology, but mortal Greek heroes were as significant. Greek heroes frequently played roles that imparted lessons in morality that were as significant to the mythology about Greek gods and goddesses. This mythology also placed a high value on the good deeds that people committed while on Earth. This is how Roman mythology was unique. Roman mythology, which believed in an afterlife, did not stress the achievements of mortal heroes as they related to their lives on Earth. Another important value system difference between the Greeks and the Romans, which had significance to their mythology, was actions versus words. Greeks appreciated poetry because they thought that words had meaning and were important. Greek gods are frequently described as being lovely in every manner since poetry brought metaphors and praise. On the other hand, the warrior form was more significant to the Romans, who value deeds over words. Therefore, items like weapons and instruments often have value. Then, a minute difference between the way Romans and Greeks conducted their worship was that the pantheon of the Romans had more unification. Because the gods lacked distinctive qualities of personalities that could be used to judge them as acceptable or repulsive, they were worshipped collectively. Greeks had more preferences. There were also wars among the gods, and hence there was more stratification. How they practiced religion is the next difference between Greeks and Romans in terms of mythology. Romans worshipped their gods more ritualistically because they gave them an unreachable status and made them somewhat more inaccessible. They had more complex customs, rituals, and passages. Greeks, on the other hand, did less ceremonial devotion and spent more time writing poetry and stories. The perception of mortals in both Greek and Roman mythologies is the final point of comparison. Deities were seen by the Greeks as out-of-the-world beings. This implies that humans would never become gods and have a position among the deities they revered. Instead, people would have to perform admirable deeds while on earth to gain the respect of the gods. Roman society was unique. The Romans believed humans should strive to be superior to the deities they revered. One of the explanations is that the Roman gods and goddesses inspired them to lead decent lives. The second reason is that they thought there would be an afterlife once their worldly lives ended. In conclusion, you can see parallels and contrasts between the gods of the two ancient societies by contrasting Greek and Roman gods. We hope this video helped you in differentiating both the mythologies and understanding the gods of both cultures in a better way. Let us know in the comment box below which difference shocked you the most. We'll see you next time with another amazing video. Until then, stay mythically mad.